news in the last few minutes or so that Paul Pogba banned from football for 4 years after failing a drugs test last year.
Accusations of doping, extortion scandals, and even witchcraft have overshadowed the football world's memory of one of this century's most talented players, Paul Pogba. In 2019, the towering former Man United star, equipped with an elegance that defied his height and ball-striking abilities that struck terror into opposition goalkeepers, seems set to become the greatest French midfielder since Zidane.
Beautiful Pogba again! Unbelievable! 2 in 2 minutes!
But, as often with Pogba, crazy off-field allegations, question marks over his attitude, and poor career choices prevented the Frenchman from maintaining the form that would sit him alongside football's greats.
Pogba! For France! And possibly now the world!
However, despite the chaos off the pitch, Pogba's undeniable talent resurfaced when he found a rhythm at Manchester United in 2019. His dazzling displays against Premier League defences were an outpouring of relief, because for much of his first 3 seasons at Old Trafford, critics had questioned whether the world record transfer fee paid for Pogba in 2016 was justifiable. Pundits from United's glory years, who built their reputation on hard work,
to be balanced on Pogba, for 2 years for 95 million he gave the club nowhere near enough in terms of performance levels and contribution.
Honesty and steel, couldn't believe the lack of enthusiasm they were seeing from the club's new £95 million supposed saviour, tipped to return the 20-time English champions to their perch.
I wouldn't believe a word he says.
Why?
There's no meaning behind it. I don't even think he believed what he was saying there.
And criticisms of Pogba were hardly unfair. During his time at Juventus, the 6'3" powerhouse, with an almost unprecedented combination of athleticism and flair, was instrumental to the club's 4 back-to-back Serie A titles and unlikely charge to the 2015 Champions League final. The team wasn't filled with world-class players in every position. In many games, they relied on Pogba's individual brilliance to get them over the line. He'd score winners in cup finals, drive his team to long unbeaten runs, and lift silverware every single summer. Pogba, once a boy dreaming of stardom from a troubled area on the outskirts of Paris, helped lead France to World Cup glory midway through his spell at United, showcasing every ounce of the talent that had made him the world's most expensive player just 2 years earlier. So, where was this version of the phenomenon midfielder in the Premier League? By late 2018, the pressure on Pogba and United was suffocating. The boss, Jose Mourinho, was a world-renowned title-winning genius, but as many find out, breaking Old Trafford's post-Ferguson curse is almost impossible. And the Portuguese manager's tactics centered around defensive stability, positional discipline, and utilizing set pieces, approaches that limited Pogba's technical flair. When Mourinho's defensive-minded approach works, his teams are unstoppable, the media loves it, and trophies follow. But when the dressing room loses faith in Mourinho and he stops getting results, things turn ugly quickly. The French midfielder's relationship with his manager had always been pretty frosty. In 2018, Pogba was publicly humiliated, as Mourinho publicly stated, "The only truth is that I made the decision for Paul, not to be the second captain anymore." And during the same period, Pogba questioned his manager's tactics. "We are at home, and we should play much better against Wolves. When we are at home, we should attack. That's Old Trafford. We are here to attack," he said. Amid speculation of a fallout, something the former Madrid manager disputed, footage emerged of a United training session where Mourinho appeared to avoid shaking Pogba's hand, causing the media to go into a frenzy. And as United's form continued to worsen, reports claiming the £95 million man was no longer on speaking terms with his manager grew louder. So, when Mourinho was finally sacked following a dismal 3-1 defeat at Anfield, you can imagine Pogba's relief. Turns out it fueled the fire for his sensational form in early 2019, and saw the Premier League's most polarizing enigma turn into a human cheat code. In comes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a baby-faced Norwegian manager with an attacking philosophy and a storied history with Man United. In 1999, he scored the club's winning goal at the Champions League final versus Bayern Munich, and he was ready to bring the good times back to Manchester as a manager. Unlike Mourinho, he'd enjoyed little meaningful success in his managerial career and didn't have an ego that could stunt Pogba's progress. During the United legend's first game back in the dugout, a miserable December evening away at Cardiff, Pogba lit up the Welsh team's stadium in a 5-1 victory. United's number 6 was everywhere. He expertly won the free kick United bagged to open the game's scoring, provided a beautiful bending pass to assist the second, played an intricate ball into the box for the third, and made a second assist for the fifth. In the next 2 Premier League fixtures, against Huddersfield Town and Bournemouth, Pogba scored 4 goals, including a 30-yard wonder strike, and provided 1 assist.
Comes in, flicked on, and the rebound fired home.
Delivering more goal contributions in his first 3 matches under his new boss than he had in the previous 14 games under Mourinho. Pogba's returning creativity, confidence, and at times out-of-this-world ability started to make the players around him shine too. Rashford was playing like an electric Brazilian winger, Martial was scoring, and Lingard was a breath of fresh air. Having been pivotal to Solskjaer's opening 3 wins, United won 7 and drew 2 of Pogba's next 9 Premier League fixtures, with the Frenchman scoring another 4 and assisting 3. Among the £95 million midfielder's standout performances in a red shirt was an away game against Fulham in front of a rampant United away following. As away supporters endlessly bellowed Pogba's name like few other players since Ferguson's departure,
Pogba, 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 Pogba.
the Frenchman scored twice and put in a sensational midfield display.
We are getting stronger and fitter, and I think Paul is a prime example of a player who can last the games now compared to what he did earlier after his illness.
The following week, his all-action display during a 0-0 draw against the world's most informed team, Liverpool, proved the media and Mourinho wrong. Pogba could track back, he could defend, and he'd sacrifice himself to play for the team. Suddenly, the inspiring form of Pogba, along with the new manager's change in tactics, had climbed United from mid-table to within a point of the Champions League places. But forget the numbers for a moment. Pogba's all-round play was breathtaking. He'd glide past helpless defenders with his effortless skill. His expert passes were completed with nonchalance, and he'd finally made use of his towering 6'3" frame again, winning second balls and dominating midfield. Pogba and United's numbers were impressive, but the style and arrogance with which they were won encapsulated the heroics of the Ferguson teams who'd win the Premier League season after season.
Ollie's lit the wheel, man. He's doing it. He's doing his thing. Man United are back.
Man United were back. After an iconic round of 16 Champions League win against PSG, a game Pogba missed due to suspension, there was talk that United could go all the way. But at first, they'd have to overcome Lionel Messi's Barcelona in the quarter-finals. However, the tie turned out to be an unwelcome dose of reality for United. Pogba and his midfield partners, Fred and McTominay, were outclassed, outbattled, and outthought by Barcelona's mesmerizing trio of Busquets, Rakitic, and Arthur Melo. On aggregate, the tie finishing a resounding 4-0 to Barcelona, with Pogba barely getting a kick. While the results were disappointing, United fans would agree it was not humiliating to be bamboozled by the genius of prime Messi, and a game of such magnitude was perhaps too early in the club's evolution to be won. And with the team well within the race for a place in next year's Champions League, there was little to be too downbeat about. In fact, optimism around United's future, with Pogba finally leading the midfield like a £95 million player should, and Solskjaer's nous in the dugout, was humongous. The team was filled with exciting young talent, and Pogba was playing so well.
Oh, great news. Great effort from Pogba to round off.
He looked set to become not just the team's poster boy, but the Premier League and Europe's too. But first, United would have to qualify for next season's Champions League. After the defeat to Barcelona, they were just 2 points off the top 4 with 5 games to go. And despite a run-in that included fixtures against heavyweights Man City and Chelsea, many assumed United had what it took to sneak into the Champions League places. During United's next game, they'd suffer a devastating 4-0 loss to Everton, and Pogba was back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The French midfielder strutted off the field without acknowledging the team's travelling fans, and the media, well, they had plenty to say. When asked about Pogba's decision to walk straight down the tunnel after the game, pundit Gary Neville angrily claimed, "I've often said if you've got weeds in the garden, you've got to get rid of them." From this moment onwards, the Frenchman's swagger escaped him once more. He started the team's 4 remaining matches, none of which were won, as United ended the season 5 points short of the Champions League places and without coming close to lifting major silverware. To make matters worse, during the off-season, Pogba claimed it could be a good time to have a new challenge somewhere else, and just like that, the bonds he repaired with United supporters from his scintillating form over the past 6 months were practically broken again. Despite starting and ending the season disappointingly, Pogba was named in the PFA's Team of the Season, which summarises just how special he was during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's opening 12 Premier League matches. And if the Frenchman maintained that form for the entire season, it's possible we'd be talking about the Ballon d'Or nominations rather than the Team of the Season. Incredibly, Pogba, who was only 26 during the 18-19 season, had only featured in another 70 league matches since its conclusion. He'd play a couple more campaigns at Old Trafford where he'd show glimmers of his golden potential, but consistently fell short of requirements before moving to Juventus on a free transfer in 2022.
Paul Pogba has been banned from playing football for 4 years, according to Sky in Italy. According to them, the judicial process is not yet concluded.
But injuries, a doping scandal, and outrageous witchcraft allegations limited the 18-19 season's most exciting midfielder to just 8 Serie A appearances in 2 seasons.
Now, we at Sky Sports News understand that Paul Pogba has had his doping ban reduced from 4 years down to 18 months.
Today, Pogba, having served an 18-month doping ban, is a free agent.
After weeks of speculation, Paul Pogba is officially set for a sensational third spell.
Could a sensational third spell at United be on the cards, or has the 2018 World Cup winner already burnt his bridges?